Good evening, everybody. How are we doing today? I hope we're all good and ready to kind of see how we can protect our ideas. My name is Wakim Zeidan. I am one of the co-founders of Silverline. Silverline, in principle, it's a cultural consultancy. We work with individuals and entities, private and public, to improve the cultural and creative economic value of communities. And we also have a tool that's based on the blockchain to manage intellectual property and certify it. You're probably wondering, well, cultural consultancy and blockchain and IP, why does this all come together and how? Well, our logic is that since we're working with communities to improve the economic value of their creative production, what sits at the core is their ideas, their intellectual property, and therefore managing and protecting that intellectual property is essential. So first, let's ask a very important question. What is intellectual property? As the name states, intellectual property is a property that is a product of your intellect, meaning it's a product of the human mind. And because it's the product of the human mind, it's therefore intangible, something we cannot touch. And because it's intangible, it's hard to manage and to prove. But why do we need to do that? Why do we need to manage and why do we need to protect it? I mean, for creators and innovators, their livelihood depends on it. They need to make money, and they make money through their ideas and how they get manifested. But I'm sure, some of the artists will come and tell me, well, Wakim, I just work to help the world, create social impact and all that. I don't want the money, so what? I'm just going to give out my ideas. Great. You don't want any economic returns on that? Well, at least protect your moral rights of it so that people know that you are the one who did it, and if they need to manipulate it, they need your permission for it. So that is why it's important to manage your intellectual property. Now, the big question is how? And I've sat with so many lawyers trying to understand how intellectual property works. I mean, I've been working in the industry for the past 20 years, even more, but I never really understood how it works. So I had to sit with so many lawyers, listen to a lot of lawyer kind of talk, and really understand how it works. And it all boiled down to three basic principles. Those three basic principles are, first, the first step you need to do in managing your intellectual property is transform the intangible into something tangible. This something tangible can be as simply as a file that you create, a sketch, a prototype, what have you. The second most important step to that is that you need to be able to prove that you did the work. In any court, if you want to say that I did it, you need to provide evidence, right? So you need to be able to have a good trail of evidence to show and prove that this work is yours. The third basic rule is that you need to have a public record of your work. So if you know these three principles and you practice them as a creator on a daily basis, you're good to go. Now, to illustrate what I'm saying, and again, from my conversations for the past year with different creators, I discovered that people in Jordan, specifically 2 scriptwriters, use a very basic technique with those 3 basic principles. And the others in the Caribbean, more specifically in Jamaica, what they do, and what they call it in Jamaica, is the poor artist's IP. So what those guys do is just genius, but I mean simple, but still it's great, is that first, let's say you have a musician. They came up with a song or they're writing a song and composing a song. What they do is they transform the intangible into tangible. So they put the song on a tape or a memory disk or a CD, whatever. They insert it into an envelope. They seal the envelope. And they go to the mail office, the regular post-mail office, and they actually mail it to themselves. So what they've done in this process is first, as we said, transformed it from intangible to tangible, created evidence that is sealed and proves it's theirs because they're sending it from themselves to themselves, so it's not going anywhere else. And the third thing is that when they went to the mail office, the envelope gets stamped with a post stamp, it gets dated with the ink stamp, and in the post mail they have this public ledger where they record that this mail went on this date from this person to this person, so there is a public record of it. As simple as that. And that's how those guys have been doing it for quite a while. So, that's a nice example, but obviously it's not very sustainable. You cannot mail yourself every single time we come up with evidence and so on. So how do we solve that with technology? And this is where blockchain comes in. And this is the million-dollar question that you were asking the other day. On blockchain, it sounds like too, hard to understand. Well, I have to admit, I didn't get blockchain until a year ago. I always thought that blockchain was Bitcoin. As simple as that. But when I delved into the world of blockchain and spoke to different creators and people who work on the blockchain, it turned out to be a very simple concept. So blockchain is basically a distributed public ledger. Okay? So think of it as this, when you go to a government office, you have those big books that usually are very dusty. They have to open, and all transactions and the recorded documents on those. So imagine blockchain is one of those books, but it has an endless number of white pages, and everything that gets recorded on it cannot be edited nor deleted. So in a way, it is like the most secure and transparent form of public ledgering or public records. In addition to that, every transaction recorded on it is validated by so many sources. So if one defaults, you have so many others that confirm your transaction. So how does that really help intellectual property? So first off, what is an evidence in your creative process? Let's assume today, and I always like to give the example of a furniture designer. So you're a furniture designer, and all of a sudden you had this vision of a chair design that you think is really cool. So you start transforming this idea into a sketch. So you sketch 1, 2, 3 over the days, and so on and so forth. Then you start looking up online, researching colors, formats, what others have been doing. You go into different spaces, start taking pictures. You record voice notes of any ideas that you have. All those become your first set of evidence. Now imagine you can take all this evidence, put it up on something as simple maybe like that looks like a Dropbox, but it's an actual vault where you are the only one who have access to it. And as you progress with your design, you start creating more evidence throughout the whole creative process. As you go, you keep on uploading files into that vault. Now, we applied so far 2 rules. Intangible made it tangible, and created a trail of evidence. Now imagine every time you upload a batch of files, you can actually notarize it. Notarizing, going to a notaire or a notary, where they actually stamp your document and with the date and an actual stamp. Well, imagine you can do that digitally by issuing a stamp, which is a Bitcoin stamp, and doing a timestamp, which is similar to the ink stamp, issued by an official authority, such as the European Union, and another one, maybe the Chinese. Now here, I have to tell you, you can stop imagining, because we actually have the tool at Silverline, where you can do all that by simply dragging and dropping files, certifying them with a click of a button, issuing those certificates, making sure you cover all the basic rules of managing and protecting your intellectual property. Then you can take any of those files, share them with whoever you want with full confidence, because you know you have proof that you did it first. Okay? So, why is this important to the creative economy? Right? So as I said, I've been working in the field for the past 23 years now. And in the past 10 to 12 years, I would say the creative economy as an idea, as a notion, was really at the core of everything I was trying to understand and do. And among all the definitions that I came across on the creative economy, this definition resonated so well, and I think it's so applicable in this time and age. The creative economy is the intersection between culture, business, and technology. To me, it makes sense. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to dissect each single word into different components, and then we're going to put them all together in a full ecosystem, and I'll show you how. So if we take the word culture, I'm going to break it down into three components. Vibrancy. It's very essential for a culture to be vibrant. It's very essential for the creative workers to have social impact, and it's essential for them to co-create or collaborate with others. If I take business, break it down into its own components, it's ideas, it's talent, it's financial sustainability, and I always hear different creators always complaining, no investor is really putting money with us. We're considered high risk. So we need good financial sustainability. Investors, naturally, and the marketplaces. Moving on to technology, blockchain, and I hope it's clear by now what is blockchain. Yeah, great. NFT, non-fungible tokens, and now it's like the trendy word. Everybody, every time they hear this word, is like, oh, we want to know what's NFT. It seems like the next big thing. Well, it is the next big thing. So non-fungible tokens, again, to kind of explain it in a very simple way, think of it as a deed, a title deed of your house, okay? الملكية, all right? That is an NFT, but it comes in a digital format. Or the registration card of your car, it could be an NFT. So anything that really certifies that you are an owner acts similarly as a non-fungible token. Smart contracts. We all hate agreements, signing legal stuff and all that. Well, smart contracts, although there's the word contract in it and it kind of binds between two different individuals or entities, but what it really is, it's an actual software that manages the exchange, the buying and selling or licensing and buying a license or royalties between different parties. So instead of having a salesman, a broker, an agent, a bank, smart contracts do their job, or even a crowdfunding platform. So you don't need an actual physical entity or trusted entity to act as a third party in any transaction. Smart contracts actually do that, and they do that much better. Third thing is cryptocurrency. Now it's like a big deal, trending, everybody's buying crypto. But really what cryptocurrency is and what makes it different than digital currency is that, when it was created, cryptocurrency was called programmable currency. So again, it's a software. It's a coin that you can actually program and adjust the way you want. All those abilities and the tools that come with blockchain really help in making the creative economy a sustainable one. So how will all those three really play together? My first stop is cultural vibrancy of a city. So why is it important for a city to be culturally vibrant? I would say two reasons. One, if a city is culturally vibrant, the talent within the city will be inspired and will be able to create and co-create and collaborate. And when we talk about cultural vibrancy, we're not really referring here to just art shows and fairs. No, we're talking about a proper cultural infrastructure, like having museums, like having libraries, universities that specialize in teaching different specializations in the creative industry. We're talking about cinemas, concert halls, and so on. We're talking about innovation clusters, such as incubators, accelerators, co-working spaces. All those and the programs that come with them form up the cultural vibrancy of the city. So if it has talent, that talent will get nurtured. If it doesn't have talent or it's limited on talent, it will be able to attract talent to it and nurture that talent. So a culturally vibrant space or city or nation is really important to kick off a good creative economy. And the Emirates has been really displaying a good display on that too. So from that stop, I'm going to move to the next stop, which is talent. So imagine here that you have this, I would say, web tool where you have different stakeholders subscribing to it. You have investors, you have the creators, you have the service providers of the creative industry, and you have the cultural institutions, universities, and so on, all connected on a web platform. Okay? So here, the creative talent has an idea. Let's go back to the chair example. What they'll be able to do, because there's a crypto wallet, you have the smart contracts, and you have the blockchain, all working together. The creator will be able to first manage their intellectual property. Let's say they designed the chair, they have a prototype sample, it's protected through blockchain. They'll put it out there, like a crowdfunding campaign, let's say. But they will be able to preset by saying, I intend to sell 1,000 chairs. I'm gonna get an X number of profits, and I intend to share this profit as follows. 60% goes back to me, for example, 20% will go back to investors, and 20% I'm gonna let it go to a specific scholarship program in this university that probably gives scholarships to furniture designers of different specializations because I need my field to grow. And obviously that university with that scholarship program is subscribed on this ecosystem. So they preset that, the investor comes in with their crypto wallet and decide to transfer a specific amount of money that's preset by the creative, and it's all managed by the smart contract. So they don't need to have shares in your company if you're a company doing it, or shares in your whatever you're trying to do. They simply fund you and they will be sure to get their money back. So once that is funded, the creator will keep on developing the whole product until it's ready. And they always use the IP management tool by putting up the evidence to prove that they're actually working and to protect their work. But at the same time, because the service providers are also connected to this web tool, the creator will only be using their services. So they will be paying through their crypto wallets into the crypto wallets of the service providers. So what that provides, because it's also recorded on the blockchain, full transparency on how money is being spent, so that the investor, they feel there isn't such a high risk, they actually can track in full transparency what's happening with the creator. Once the product is ready to be sent out, so you have the trail of evidence, you know where the money has been spent, you've done all your study on how you want to market and distribute your product, whether you want to sell it, whether you want to license it, you are then, with a single button, be able to publish it as an NFT. So you can create 10, 1,000, 10,000 NFTs, which basically compile all the evidence that you are the creator, so there is a proper authentication or certification of authenticity of the work, and they'll be put out on the marketplace. Now, the beauty of NFTs is that because they're managed by smart contracts, you can preset how much commission you get every time an NFT is sold. Every single time. So that guarantees financial sustainability as well for the creator. So you sell those NFTs, and as sales kick in, the profit comes in, and because we've preset it, thanks to the different technology of the blockchain and the smart contracts, the returns will start going 60% to the person, 20% to the investors, and 20% to that university, so that everything is properly distributed and managed by the smart contracts. And with that, we can say that we're able, using blockchain, have a sustainable creative economy. Now, when we put this together and we looked at it at Silverline, it felt simple and obvious. It's like, what did we create? There's nothing new here. But really, what is the power behind it, what's the enabler, is really the blockchain and its tools, because what it's really doing, it's streamlining the whole process, making it transparent, minimizing the risk, so investors are encouraged to invest. So with that, I hope I was able to display the different concepts clearly and to display the endless possibilities behind this definition and blockchain and the definition of intersection of culture, business, and technology. And I hope, that's something in the works, so hopefully one day it will see the light, but we truly believe in this coming to life and serving a sustainable creative economy. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you need to reach out, have questions, please feel free to scan the QR code and reach out to me. Thank you.